Hello and welcome to lesson 1 in SOLIDWORKS. In this lesson I'm going to show you how to draw the T block that you can see in front of you. This will give basic introductory skills to SOLIDWORKS. When we draw this, I am also going to show you how to draw an elevation, a plan, an end view of our T block and an isometric view along with a border and the title block just as we would on your A3 page in class. So that is the aim of this lesson. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to close SOLIDWORKS and I'm going to show you how to open up SOLIDWORKS. On your desktop you should have an icon that says SOLIDWORKS 2015 x64 edition. If you don't worry for the moment, but what I want you to do is double click that and SOLIDWORKS will open. Like I said, if you don't have it, I will show you an alternative method to opening up a SOLIDWORKS. So SOLIDWORKS is now open, but just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to close that and I'm going to show you a different way to open up SOLIDWORKS. In the bottom left hand corner, you should have an option that allows you to search for a program. I'm going to start typing in SOLIDWORKS, and even before I finish typing SOLIDWORKS, it's automatically guessing that I want to open up SOLIDWORKS 2015, and I'm going to click that and SOLIDWORKS will open. So this is our default page in SOLIDWORKS. At the moment, if you click on your screen, not a lot can happen. We need to give the SOLIDWORKS command. That's what we want to do. If I hover over my SOLIDWORKS sign, a number of menus will open. So for example, I want to go File, New. When I open up this, I'm given the option of a part, an assembly, or a drawing. What I want us to do is click Part and then click OK. So a part is where you will always start your drawing, and before we start our drawing I want to talk about the layout of the screen very briefly. Up here we have our ribbon. So on this ribbon we have a number of commands. So for example, we have extrude boss base, revolve boss base. These will become evident as to what to do later on. Down here we have a number of tabs. So for example, if I click sketch, all of these commands change. If I click surfaces, all of these commands change. If I click evaluate, all of these commands change. Some of them will be used more than others. Sketch will be used a lot because this is where you start your drawings. Features will be used a lot. There are an awful lot of them here. There'll be times where you want to add to these. There'll be times where you want to delete some of these. If I want to do that, I will right click, and you can see here there are a number of them that are visible. So for example, sketch is visible, that is ticked. Sheet metal is not visible, that is unticked. So as an exercise, I'm just going to click sketch, and we now can see the sketch has disappeared. Sketch is not here, but we need that back. So I'll right click on my mouse and click sketch. Before we start drawing, I want to make sure that SOLIDWORKS is set up to draw in millimeters, just as we do on our A3 page in class. To do that, I want to come down here to the bottom right hand corner. We have a little MMGS letters here with an arrow clicking up. If I click up, we have the option of having our drawing in inches, millimeters, centimeters and meters. Now mine is already set to millimeters, so I'm happy with that. But it is very important that you check that at the start. Sometimes your drawings can be in inches and it can get confusing if you have it in inches. So I'm going to click millimeters, and again I'll just double check it's MMGS, which is millimeters. Before we proceed on, I want to talk about the name of the actual drawing up here. So on the top we have the default name, which is part 1. It's very important that when you are drawing something in SOLIDWORKS, or indeed, for example, if you're drawing something or writing something in Microsoft Word, you should get into a habit of saving your work before you even start it. The reason for this is because in theory, you could spend 20 minutes drawing something and there could be a power cut, for example, and before you know it, you've lost all that work that you spent 20 minutes doing. So what I want to do is I want to save this work. Now I may show you where to save this in class myself, but for demonstration purposes, I'm going to create a folder and I'm going to save this. So I'm going to go File, Save. And what I want to do is I want to create a new folder that would be called Your Name and then SolidWorks Lessons. So I'm going to go Mr. Irwin SolidWorks Lessons. I'm going to double click into that and I want to create a new folder again, and I will call this Lesson 1. And within that, I'm going to double click in again and I'm going to call that P block. Now, file management is very, very important. It's very important that you know where you've saved your work and that you do save your work. So I'll click Save there. And now we can see that our what was part 1 has now become T block. So we know that this file is saved. As we proceed throughout this lesson, you will see me demonstrate every minute, half a minute, every 2 minutes. It's very important to click the Save button to save your work so it's updated. Now, what I want to do is I want to start drawing my T block. So to do that, what I want to do is I want to click the Sketch tab, and within this, we want to sketch a line. In line, and in all of these commands, if you just press them, you'll notice that we have a number of different options. So for example, within rectangle, I can do a 3-point corner rectangle. I can do a corner rectangle, for example. Within line, I can click a line, a center line, or a midpoint. I simply want to draw a line, so I'm going to click line. Over here, what we have is the window where it's asking us what do we want to do now. So in the yellow, if ever you see kind of a yellow box like that, it's asking us what do we want to do. So it's saying select a plane on which to create a sketch for this entity. So it is asking us, where do we want to draw this? Do we want to draw it on the front plane? Do we want to draw it on the top plane? Do we want to draw it on the right plane? So I'm simply hovering over these for the moment, just for demonstration purposes. I'm going to tell you that we want to draw this on the front plane, so I'm going to left click on my mouse, and you can see two things have happened now. We now only have our front plane, and our cursor has changed to a pencil with a blue line, so that is telling us that it's ready to start drawing. Now our front plane there is in a 3D view, which in theory we can draw on that, but it's a lot easier if we're drawing on that in 2D. So to do that, if I click the space bar, our orientation window will open, and I want to click normal to, and we can see that our front plane has now become 2D, almost like a page that we would have in class. Now I want to make that a little bit bigger, so what you can do is your roller ball on your mouse, you can zoom in or out, and that will make it bigger or smaller on your screen. So to begin drawing the actual T block, I want to start it at the origin, which is where these red arrows are. So you can see that automatically, as I move towards the red arrows, the pencil will kind of snap to the center of them, and we have a little orange dot. So to begin that, I'm going to left click, and a line has started. So we have the start of our line, and we need to tell it what direction do we want to go. So I want to bring it out to the right hand side, and you'll also notice that I want it horizontal, and it kind of automatically selects it to go horizontal. Now how far do we want to make it? The measurements are not that important for the moment because we will be changing them. So I'm going to go roughly 170 millimeters like that. So I'm going to left click, and now we have our bottom line drawn like there. What I want to do is I want to continue drawing my T block. This time I want to come up again at 90 degrees, and you will notice that it snaps automatically. And I'm going to come up roughly 50 millimeters. And again, it does not matter if it's exact because we will change that. So I'm going to left click, and I'm going to come out to the left hand side this time. Again, roughly 50 millimeters, and again at 90 degrees. I'm going to come up, again roughly 50 millimeters, and again at 90 degrees. Out to the left, again roughly 50 millimeters. I want to come back down, and this time we will try and have it in line with this here. So again, it will automatically kind of snap in line with this here. So I'm going to select that. I want to come out to the left, and again it will kind of automatically select to come in line with the origin here. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to come back to the origin, and that is my drawing done very briefly. Now, the sizes of them, again, they're very random. What we need to do now is we need to change those measurements to be exact. To do that, again, within my sketch command, I'm going to click Smart Dimension. And what I do then is I come down to a line and I select it. And I'm going to come down, my command or my dimension is hovering there for the moment. I'm going to left click again, and we can see that the measurement at the moment is 172 millimeters. I want to make that 150 millimeters and click the green tick button. Now we want to make a few more changes to this. I want to select this one here. The right hand side, it says it's 46.98, and I want to select that, and I want to make that 50 millimeters. I want to do the same on the left hand side. Again, it's 46.98. I'm going to type in 50. I'll click that green tick button. I want to make this one 50 millimeters as well. I want to make this one 50 millimeters as well. And I want to make the height 50 millimeters as well. Now, we do not need to change this one here because we've already told it that the overall length is 150. We've told it that this one is 50. We've told it that this one is 50. So automatically that one is 50. So that is our drawing done. It is in 2D. So if I press and hold the rollerball mouse or the rollerball button on my mouse, you can see that it's still in 2D, but I want to make that a 3D object, a solid object. Now to return that to a 2D view, I'm going to press my spacebar and click normal 2, and we're back to our 2D viewing. Now to make that a solid object, what I'm going to do this time is go Features and Extrude Boss Base. And automatically you can see that it goes into an isometric view or a 3D view, and we can see that automatically it is giving us a depth of 10 millimeters there. So 9 times out of 10, that is our default measurement there. There are a number of ways to set the measurement of that. The first one is I can simply type in 50 millimeters and click the green tick button there like that. And there we go, that is our solid object done. Now I'm simply going to undo that for the moment. I'm going to go Features, Extrude Boss Base again, and this time, again, it's already has 50 millimeters there, but if you wanted to change that, you can just click our up and down button there like that, and again you can accept that. Alternatively, if you go to this little arrow and you click and drag that, we can give that a depth of whatever we want. So for example, that is at 113 millimeters. I want to go back to 50, which is there roughly. Again, it can be hard to get it exactly on 50, so I'm going to type in 50 there like that and click the green tick button. Now, we've done about 5 minutes work there. I want to hit the save button to make sure our work is updated. So that is our solid object drawn. Again, we can look at this in different views. So if I go to View Orientation, and for example, I can look at the front view like so. I can look at the top view. I can look at the end view. And if I go into View Orientation again, and over in this one here, this command, we have 3 options: isometric, dimetric, and trimetric. If I click isometric, our object is in 3D like that. Again, I'm just going to save my work to make sure it's up to date. Now, the final thing I want to show you before we finish this lesson is how to change the color of an object. Over on the right hand side here, you should have Appearances, Scenes, and Decals. It's like a multicolored globe. If I click that, this is where we can actually change the background if we wanted. This is where we can change the color of the object. And that is what we are going to do. So what we're going to do is click Appearances. And in this, we have a number of options. We can change it to organic, so for example, orange juice. We can change it to stone, a fire brick, or wet concrete, for example. For this, I'm going to click solid and I'm going to make it green maybe. So to change the color of it, there are a number of ways of doing this. If I simply double click green, you can see that my object has automatically changed to green. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to go back into appearances. Another way of doing that is to click and hold and drag the color over to the object. Now you notice that a new window opens. This gives us the option of maybe just selecting the face to go green, or the actual entire object itself, so boss extrude for example. So if I click boss extrude, you can see that the entire object is green. Now there's one more thing I want to show you, is this command over here. So this window will allow us to edit any drawing we have done. So for example, we have a little plus beside our boss extrude. This is our original sketch that we did. If I right click over that and go to edit sketch, you can see that this is the sketch that we did at the start of this lesson. So for example, if I were to make a change to this, let's just say I want to make this 100 millimeters, and I make this side 100 millimeters as well. You can see now our shape has changed. If I go up here to the top right hand corner and I accept that, we can see that my object has changed. So like I say, this is where we can edit objects as and when we want to. I'm simply going to undo that and undo again, undo again, undo again, and that is our original object. So that is the end of lesson 1.